It's Katie Lee, and this is the IMZ 103 podcast.
Hey, I'm Russell Storms, and here in the studio we have Will. Will, would you tell me a bit about yourself?
Hey, I'm just a local podcaster from here in Idaho, and I've been trying to get a lot of people's attention to the podcast. So, so you've had an experience, and it doesn't have to be a real, awful experience or horrible experience, but you walk out your back door, your front door one day, and you see something in the sky, you can't figure out what it is, and it lands in your field. Hey, it could be a UAV, it could be a UFO. We don't really know. But you have nobody to tell about it, and then everybody you would tell about it, they think you're crazy. Well, you can actually come to me and talk to me on the podcast, and me and my listeners, we don't judge, man. I mean, if you say you've seen a little 3-foot purple Elvis that came out of a 2-foot UFO, I'll listen to you. The brain makes up things because of, if you have a horrible experience. So you could have seen something really cool, say like, a brown cow, but your brain turned it into a little UFO. It's fine, you can come to us, you can talk to us. And then if you've had, experiences with like Sasquatch or Bigfoot, stuff like that, things that hunters see out in the woods that they won't tell anybody else, you can come to us and talk to us. If you're a medium, a clairvoyant, anything like that, it's a full scope is what it is.
That's really cool. What is an episode of that you'd recommend people listen to?
There's 2 episodes in mind if you really want to get a real good feel of what the podcast is, and that is 3, season 1, which they're not really seasons anymore. If you go to the website is www.investigation-cryptoparallology.com, which is everybody knows how to spell investigation. Put the dash in the middle, CRYPTOPARALLOGY.com, and click on episodes. Go to 2021, and then it should be episode 3, and it's a lifetime of demonic oppression is what it's called. And it really goes through, and what the guy says, it's kind of creepy, but it actually happened to him.
Wow. And what's the other episode that you'd recommend?
If you go to same one, 2021, go to episode 4, which should be being watched in Arizona. So that's the one, we actually sat here in the studio and listened to the intro. And if you listen to the episodes and listen to the intro on the episodes, you'll hear a kid talking about how, he's seen something and it just stood there and didn't move. Well, that's actually in episode 4.
That's really cool. And these are some fantastic stories. Like I honestly haven't heard anyone personally tell me about this stuff, but I think it's really cool to hear these stories from people. So how did you get into asking people about these stories and having them come on your podcast?
Well, I actually got into it when I was little. I grew up on the Cherokee Reservation in North Carolina in the Koala boundary. And you would experience things and see things that most people just wouldn't see. I mean, it's not common. Uh-huh. So growing up like that, and growing up growing up with my grandparents, being raised by my grandparents like I was, it's more or less along the lines of I already knew about all this, and I knew that it existed in the world. And then you go on Facebook groups and on the internet, and you see how the community itself infights. And, somebody might have a picture of something that's real, and the whole group will go, no, that's fake, or it's Photoshop. And then, you hear of these other groups of people who go out in the woods and make whoops and hollers and things that will not work, because you've been told to stay out of the woods all your life, or these things will get you. So, that's what my grandparents used to tell me. So, So I took all that and I was like, well, I'm going to give people a place where they can come and they can talk about these things, no matter what it is. I mean, we had a veteran on, and he did a whole podcast of the 22 a day. What 22 a day is 22 veterans a day commit suicide. And he did a whole podcast, a whole episode on that, trying to explain to people why it happens. And it's not just the veteran comes home, he's got PTSD. It also has to do with the medications and everything else that they get transferred. Well, after so many medications, it will have an effect on your brain. Mm-hmm. So we had that done. But the reason why, I started the podcast, the reason why I got into this is I wanted to give people a place where they could come and talk and not have to worry about persecution. I've got hundreds of thousands of listeners around the world as per analytics from Anchor and Spotify. And, I have never gotten a negative email off of any of the episodes. So that tells me that my listeners follow by my example and they don't judge. I mean, it's not our place to judge. So if a person wants to come on and talk about whatever they want to talk about, if you just want to come on and you don't want me to record, you just want to talk to me, that's fine. I'll do that too.
That's really cool. Well, thank you for coming in our studio today.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the IMZ 103 podcast. If you enjoyed the interview, please share, subscribe, and rate the podcast. IMZ 103 is hosted by Katie Lee and is a production of Riverbend Media Group. For more information or to contact the show, visit riverbendmediagroup.com.